at the beginning, we talked about Target and, middle America not wanting to take their kids into a Target store because of the freaky things that they're selling. And now we're talking about middle America not wanting to take their kids to a movie theater because of the freaky things they're selling.
Yep.
And in the middle, we talked about how Americans don't give a shit. They'll just vote Democratic no matter what. And Democratic has completely embraced, the Democratic Party has embraced this. There's a disconnection here. The answer seems to me to be that general feel-good political allegiances and voting are hard to dislodge. And even though we can always find and do always find social media sharing of footage from footage. The old man said footage. Yeah, we developed it in the dark
film.
Okay. The video of the, family-friendly drag show, and you're wondering, what the hell family? What parents are taking their kids? So there are some, but by and large, at the end of the day, most normal Americans will even vote Democratic, will even believe the media and the implausible stories that they come up with about origins of COVID. When it comes to pushing this sexualization, even forget whether or not it has to do with homosexuality or transsexuality or any of that stuff. Sexualization of children. People still have, I think, normal people, and that's still the majority, an inherent revulsion. Why does my kid have to be involved with this at all?
Agreed. I think that's the right way of putting it. It's a revulsion. A person doesn't have to go through like an intellectual rationalization for why they're not taking their kid to see that. They just go, that's disgusting. I don't want to show that to my kid.
Yeah. They feel it in their gut and they say, this isn't for our family, and they do something else. They don't need to explain it to themselves. And I think that's the hard thing about modern culture. For a lot of parents, they're being pressed to say, but why wouldn't you do this? Why won't you do that?
Right, and they don't have a religious doctrine to fall back on because they don't go to church anymore and they don't observe, the tenets of their religion. And yet their souls are screaming within them
Amen.
That there is right and wrong in this world, that there is...
Certainly.
Call it natural law, call it God's, but there is morality, that there are things that matter. There are values that are not malleable, and people are embarrassed to be associated with a religious rationale for having those feelings, because what could be less fashionable?
And I think this is why it's so important to the alphabet people to go after children, because it is true, as you said, this is written on man's heart. He understands this. There are certain things that are wrong.
And it doesn't have to even be perversity. As I said, most normal young children are uncomfortable with outward displays of what we might call romantic affection. They don't really want to see mommy and daddy kissing. A kiss is okay. They don't want to see you making out with your spouse. They do not want any part of that.
As they shouldn't, like an adult wouldn't. But if you wanted to create a world where like adults were just making out in front of each other and in front of kids and being weird,
then you'd go to San Francisco.
You'd go to San Francisco. No, but that's what these groomers do. They try to expose children to it as early as possible,
so it becomes normal to them.
It becomes normal to them. Exactly.
I think it's also important to mention that a lot of the people that are performing in drag and et cetera, and in these environments. I mean, I was a DJ for years, and I've been around a lot of the gay community. Say what you will about it, but they don't feel comfortable doing this. They don't want children to be around like that, and a lot of them are in the situation where they're essentially being forced by people that are.
Well, I represent a couple of organizations. One is Gays Against Groomers.
Yes. Okay. Great people.
And these are real homos. In other words, these are people who they're activists.
They certainly are. Yes,
it is a big part of their identity. There's like an entire different conversation of, does tolerance of homosexuality require me to have to hear about your homosexual interests all the time? Separate and apart from that, what my clients are saying is, they're killing our community.
Yes.
They're killing the reputation and the image we had. And by the way, there's a parallel to what's happened with race relations in this country, because most of us, until Barack Obama was elected, but especially after Barack Obama was elected, thought, we did it. We
On race relations, yeah.
We have turned that corner. We can elect, and by the way, many people voted for him to demonstrate to themselves
Exactly.
that
I'm not racist.
That they're not racist.
I voted for a black president.
And what happened is the door was opened to a radicalization, not necessarily because of Obama himself, I don't think so, but because of people around him. I actually don't have that sort of really intense hatred of Obama that a lot of people do. In fact,
You should probably talk to someone. I mean, you should get that checked out. Not hatred, strong dislike. I strongly dislike. I won't say
because hating is
hate
not
is
a
bad.
Good
Yeah,
way
but
we're going,
a strong dislike. But continue.
No, but the point is, the people thought that we had, we sort of have the sexual revolution, and a lot of moral choices were unbound and traditional, and we were not necessarily all of us that comfortable, especially those of us who are traditional religionists. Fine. You go and ruin your own society. We're going to just hunker down. It's inescapable now. There's
Exactly.
nowhere they won't let you. And by the way,
And that's always how it trends, by the way. They're never okay doing their perverse thing and then leaving other people alone to live a traditional and moral lifestyle.
Right, there's never a limiting principle.
Nope.
Yeah.
And there can't be. Because when their entire argument for recognition and acceptance and tolerance is premised on marginalization per se is an evil, that means that there is no margin in which you can leave the most perverse behavior. And there we are.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and this is always how it goes. I mentioned this on the